Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. This is Zach over at NV Woodworks. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the air compressor that I use and our air plumbing system, the piping that we've used. So stick with me and I'll show you my setup. All right, so I get questions all the time about, which compressor should I get and what's the smallest, cheapest one that I can use and what do you have? And so I thought, I'm gonna go through and kind of show everybody what we have set up, and maybe that'll kind of help you see, our system. But I also wanted to share with you the plumbing system, the piping that we use for the air lines. It's a pretty awesome system, may not be practical for many people. We're in a 4,000 square foot shop and we need air at pretty much both ends, both corners of the shop. So we've had to kind of use a little bit more expensive product, but it's really not that unreasonably priced. It's a pretty cheap product for what it is, and it works really well. So I thought I'd kind of go through that and show you guys our setup. All right, so I just wanted to stop real quick and make sure everybody understands. This is not what I think you should use or a recommendation for anybody. This is just simply what we have, our setup in our shop, and it works because we have high demands on air. We have kind of an industrial setup, we have a big compressor and we're doing a lot of stuff with air here. Now, it's probably pretty impractical for many people's kind of small workshops, so this is probably not going to help you too much if you're looking for just a small shop, general compressor. Now, having said that, I do get questions all the time, which one should I get? What's the cheapest possible thing that I can use for pressure casting? And frankly, I don't exactly know. I'm not familiar with any cheap compressors, and I wouldn't personally buy one. I just think that the cheapest tool on the planet is one that I can just overlook and pass over. I would actually recommend, if you don't have a compressor and you're looking for a general, something to use for pressure pots, I would recommend getting something a little bit better than, the minimum. That way you can use it for a wider variety of things. It'll be more useful for you. And I do have a recommendation for a general purpose, fairly small compressor, and it's made by California Air Tools. That's not to be confused with CA Technologies. That's two different brands, but California Air Tools, they have a 5 horsepower one, and their compressors run a little bit quieter than your typical oil-less compressor. So you don't have to, maintain it with oil or do anything like that, but it runs fairly quiet. So I'll have a link to that down in the show notes if you're looking for a general purpose compressor that'll work for pressure casting and pretty much anything you need in your shop. So with that out of the way, let's get back to our setup in this shop. As we leave my part of the shop, kind of tucked in the corner back here, we have a room set up where we keep the compressor. And the room is meant to kind of keep the noise to a minimum when it turns on, but we have an 80-gallon tank and it's a 5 horsepower motor running it. And so it's pretty industrial, made by Magnaforce. I don't really think that the brand matters that much. This one's working fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but so we have that thing, set up ready to rock. Now, one thing I'll mention, if you're gonna, on any kind of compressor, especially with the resin casting, I would put a filter on your line of some sort and a moisture separator. It's a good idea. In general, for any kind of air compressing that you do, anything that you need air for. But so we bought this piping system made by RapidAir, and it's the one that we got is MaxLine. That's the brand, and I'll have links to this stuff in the show notes. But it's basically a plastic and metal tubing that comes in a giant roll, and you just unroll it, and it's super simple to put together. And it works great. And most of the fittings are just going to be compression fittings, which are super easy. And so we have it branched out. We have a T, and so this line right here, that's running over into my shop, and then this line runs over kind of to my dad's area. So let's head over to my shop, and I'll kind of show you where this line, how we have this thing run. From the center of my shop, you can kind of see that line running up on the wall there. And I got one drop there, and what I use this for is just blowing off the dust on the table saw and stuff when I'm cutting out blanks. So I have a blowgun hooked up there, but the line runs and it goes around the corner, and it actually even extends outside of the wall of my shop. But the one that you see me using most of the time, I have a little outlet there, and I have a hose reel with a drop that I can get to all of my pressure pots. And then I also have an outlet running here, and it kind of goes through the little wall and to my lathe, and I use that for just blowing stuff off at the lathe. Now you can see the end of that coming through my wall, and we just have that outlet. It's ready to use if we need it, kind of over in the automotive section. We don't really use it right now, but it's there. The one that we use the most for general purpose is this, and I'm going to pan way up to our ceiling. We have a hose reel there that drops kind of right in the middle of the shop, and it's usually set up for just kind of an air, blowing air off stuff, but we use it to pump up tires or whatever, any kind of general purpose stuff. And kind of panning back to where the corner is, where the compressor is back there in the corner. We got that other line that runs down this wall, and you can maybe kind of make it out underneath that shelf over there, and then it branches off, runs up, and we have that running along the main beam over to that hose reel. And then the other branch just runs to my dad's machines. He uses it for various things with milling, all kinds of different things, but that's kind of what we have set up. So we have a lot of area covered, and we use it for various things. All right, so there you have it. That's our setup. I just wanted to kind of give you the broad overview there. Not a lot to really show there. Just 80-gallon, 5 horsepower, pretty industrial, big compressor that we have. And then, that plumbing system that we have. And I just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit more. It's really a good system. Fairly inexpensive for what it is. Super easy to install. Now, it's bendable, which means you don't need to put T-junctions or elbows when you're going around corners. That's one of the things that we really liked about it. And it runs our whole shop. We haven't had any leaks. Most of the connections are all compression fittings. So you just basically just twist it on there. It's super simple. So the kit includes all the tools that you need, and the piping, the outlets, all that kind of stuff. Again, the company's RapidAir. They have a couple different options. They have one that's a little bit cheaper than the one that we got, and I think it's a thinner hose as well, so it's a little bit lighter duty basically, and it would work really good for like a garage setup. Definitely a pretty cool thing if you want to plumb your whole shop and get things kind of set up like that rather than bring the compressor around to things. It's a good system. So one reason I would maybe in my head that I would use or like plumb a garage is I would like to try to minimize the noise from the compressor. I wouldn't want that going on all the time. And I did this actually when I had a 2-car garage shop. When I started, woodworking, I put a compressor kind of in a cubby hole and tried to soundproof it. And then I ran air hoses out. It was a very simple system, but worked pretty good. In this RapidAir thing, I didn't know about that at the time. I probably would have run that in my shop. So pretty cool stuff. So again, if anybody has any comments or questions, leave those down below. If you enjoyed the video, definitely hit that like button and share with your friends. It helps a ton. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you get notified when all the new videos come out. So, till next time, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.